So I hope you can see my screen, and we're just kicking off our webinar today. And hello again to all of you who have joined us. I know some of you are joining us from different time zones. So hello and welcome to our third-party risk management webinar hosted by 6Clicks. First, my name is Shrin Fernandez. I'm the VP of APAC at 6Clicks, and I have the unique privilege and opportunity to meet and speak with many organizations, both corporate and government, on a daily basis to understand what their GRC and cybersecurity landscape looks like, to get to know their current state and the many challenges that they face on a daily basis. We also explore how 6Clicks can help you with some of these use cases. Now, I appreciate that some of you who are joining us today may already be familiar with us and looking to delve deeper into the third-party vendor management use case. And there'll be others who are new to 6Clicks. So for those of you who are new, by way of intro, 6Clicks is a next-gen AI-driven GRC cybersecurity platform solution, and we help our customers basically ensure a fast and frictionless way to manage risk and compliance. Today, we are diving specifically into a crucial aspect of GRC and cybersecurity, which is third-party and vendor risk management, which forms part of your organizational strategy to mitigate risk and fortify your security posture. So with me today is my colleague Caleb, who will take us through a run-through of the platform live, which is always fun to see in action, and we'll be doing that in the second part of today's session. In terms of what we're going to cover today, we will look at a brief overview, some of the challenges and risks that our customers face, and what you may be able to appreciate as well. The importance of third-party risk management in today's landscape, and also look at some of the strategies and best practices to achieve your third-party vendor management compliance before we go into a live demo of the platform. We also want to leave some time for Q&A, so feel free to drop them in the chat as they come up. Now, just looking at this third-party risk management space and setting the scene here, today we want to focus on essentially four elements of third-party risk and vendor management, which is essentially the practices, the processes, the activity of overseeing this space, and also how you can manage the risks of your third-party ecosystem. Now, we briefly take a look at how third-party vendor risk management has evolved over time. Many of you who have been in the industry for a long time, over a decade, you probably have seen how this space has changed over the last 10 years. I remember 10 years ago, third-party risk management was at the periphery of your GRC program. It was a nice to have. It was a non-critical part of your risk management program. But I think many of you would agree, times have changed dramatically. The evolution of third-party risk management in GRC now reflect the trends in the industry, the increasing level of sophistication of new technology, also the pace of regulation and the current business practices, not to mention the dramatic rise of the use of AI. That being said, what we want to do is really invite our audience into today's session and get a sense of what your current state is, just to assess the level of maturity and where you're at with your third-party risk management program. So we'd appreciate if you could contribute to our poll question 1, which is, how do you currently manage your third-party vendor relationships? Are you on spreadsheets and manual processes? Or do you have a dedicated team and some basic tooling? Or maybe you have a solution, but it's not fit for purpose, and you have challenges around deriving your data and being able to produce the reports that you need. Or maybe you have a solution that actually works for you, at least for the time being. Now, just moving on around the third-party risk management space, what we really wanted to do was take a look at some of the global regulations that are driving the changes in this third-party vendor management space, right? So what I've done today is taken some of the key global regulations. Now, these that are listed here are by no means exhaustive. There are obviously others that you may be subject to. I know in Australia, some of our customers talk about the Modern Slavery Act. So there's probably others, but these are the highlights for today's session. Now, many of you are familiar with GDPR. GDPR imposes strict requirements for you to manage your third-party data processes. And then we also have the HIPAA regulations. If you're dealing with patient data, what we see in this HIPAA regulation is when you're dealing with patient care records, what you want to do is ensure the security and privacy, especially when this is exposed to vendors. Now, we also have, PCI DSS for some clients in the financial sector. It requires controls to ensure the protection of cardholder data from third-party risk. And then we have DORA, which is widely spoken about today, which essentially looks at your ICT risk management and third-party risk monitoring. Closer to home, we have the Australian Privacy Act, the Australian legislation protecting personal information, including third-party data handling. Now, and then we have the ISM and Essential 8, the Australian frameworks for cybersecurity and risk management. I know this is an area that many of our clients grapple with, especially the ISM, particularly because it gets updated every quarter. And if you fall in this bracket and this is something that you find overwhelming, please do speak with us. And then we have the 27001, which is a really famous standard that's being used by many of our customers, which also covers third-party risk management. So taking a snapshot of some of these key regulations, one thing we have observed is the regulatory environment surrounding third-party and vendor risk management is complex and ever-evolving, especially when you are trying to deal with multiple standards at the same time. Whether it's GDPR, whether it's HIPAA, whether it's SOX, there are a number of regulations that are going to impact how you engage with your third-party vendors and how you manage the associated risks. As leaders in the industry, there's constant pressure around the threat of non-compliance, and we all know about the hefty fines, the legal ramifications, and the damage to our brands. Therefore, understanding the impact of these regulations are important. Now, a couple of additional points I just want to make on this slide. Number one is the scope and the applicability of each of these regulations. So it's important for us to note that different regulations apply to different industries and regions. So it's essential to identify which regulations are relevant to your organization and then ensure compliance across the board. And then you have regulations that focus on data privacy and security. So, GDPR places a strong emphasis on data privacy and security. So, the onus here is for organizations to ensure that your third-party vendors are adhering to these standards to protect the sensitive information that they are handling. Now, of course, then we also have the topic of financial integrity, where you have regulations like SOX, which govern this space. So essentially, when managing the regulatory landscape, there are a couple of things that need to happen, right? Number one, you need to rally the collective effort of your teams. You also need to invest in smart and agile technology solution to be able to facilitate this collaboration. Now, just looking at the state of TPRM today, I'm sure there are dozens of stats that we can quote, but I really wanted to focus just on one. In this survey, more than 50% of organizations basically reported that they had experienced a third-party breach due to being exposed by their third-party partner. So this should be a sobering fact for many of us in terms of vigilance in managing your third parties and your vendors. Now, here's a snapshot of some of the recent cases. I'm pretty sure that many of you are familiar with these cases or have read about it in the news, but it just highlights the importance of this space, and also the fact that no one is safe and no vertical can be considered low risk in today's day and time. Now, I picked this particular quote by the Australian regulator, ASIC, because many of you may have heard about the speech by ASIC Chair Joe Longo, in which he sent out a clear warning to many of the directors in this space about their obligations. And in this particular speech, he focused on two key areas. One is cybersecurity, and the second one is your third-party vendor management space, which is your digital supply chain. So all that being said, just looking at the risks associated with third parties and why this space has dramatically changed over time. One is we are obviously seeing an increasing level of complexity in the modern supply chain, especially when businesses are trying to secure their supply chain. They're trying to create, the different tiers of suppliers as backups. So we're dealing with a really complex space that sometimes spans multiple jurisdictions. And when this happens, the type of regulations that you need to comply with also changes with your third-party vendor management strategy. The second piece here around the lack of visibility and control. Now, most organizations face, the frustration of not being able to control how your vendors actually operate and also what security practices they employ. So it's absolutely critical to be able to collaborate with your vendors to ensure that you are not at risk as a result of their lack of security practices or any gaps in their operations. Now, and then, of course, we have, the issue of security risk because of the data handling, especially when it involves things like, PIIs, it involves your business IP. And then we also look at the regulatory risks, which we covered earlier. Now, in the regulatory space, just to recap some of the points that we discussed, organizations struggle to understand what regulations they need to comply with, and then they have to deal with the fast pace of changes happening in this space. And of course, a big part of the risk is dealing with third parties also is the operational risk, because if your critical vendor goes down, it's likely that you will face business disruptions or system downtime, and often not being able to control how long this is going to affect your business being live. Now, many organizations understand the risks associated with their third-party and vendor management ecosystem. However, when they are trying to move, out of this, it's important for us to take a look at the hidden risks of, manual processes. Many of our customers, often talk to us about how they deal with Excel spreadsheets. And in today's day and age, just under the climate that we are facing, these manual tasks are no longer, a tenable way forward, right? Because there's an increasing level of admin. You got multiple assessments for different tiers of vendors. You got a backlog of assessments, and often this involves, chasing up vendors, which are all mind-numbing tasks. You have business friction between your teams, especially, your sales teams, because they cannot move forward unless your compliance teams complete the assessment. So we're seeing an increasing amount of friction among teams. And if you don't have a clear way of extracting the data, that's going to likely result in inaccurate reporting and increased exposure to your cyber risk. So just to sum up, the importance of third-party and vendor risk management in today's landscape. One is we can be certain about the increasing regulatory scrutiny, and the enforcement actions are going to be coming hard and fast. There's an increasing focus on data privacy, especially with the recent breaches. Most organizations will agree that your business is very likely to become increasingly reliant on third parties, and we are also looking at the emerging trend of customers moving from on-prem solutions to the cloud, and all of this is going to impact your reputation and your brand. Now, when moving to a particular solution or some sort of tooling, there are three key concerns that many of our customers share with us. One is if the tooling that you are looking at or exploring is highly sophisticated and you require specialized teams to handle it, then this is a resource and an undertaking that most organizations cannot take on, right? There's already a lot going on in the GRC space. So systems that you're looking at cannot be complex. It needs to be easy to use. And so, one of the things we always recommend is, we are in the age of AI. There are a number of smart platforms which are low code, easy to use, which is worth considering. Also, when you're dealing with a complex vendor ecosystem, many of them talk about, how difficult it is to manage multiple assessments for the different tiers and send them out at different frequencies. And so, being able to select a tool that can streamline all of this and can be automated and is intuitive is critical. And also you want to avoid, the heavy admin, right? You want to ensure that the tooling that you're looking at does not require multiple data entries of the same data points. And another big area is also around the duplication of controls, right? So you really want to look at an integrated solution. So just to sum all that up, in terms of strategies and best practices to manage your third-party vendor management space, first, we recommend, establishing a dedicated third-party risk management program. If this space was sitting at the periphery of your GRC program previously, today, we cannot use that strategy moving into the future. Also, you want to implement a risk-based approach to TPRM, and you want to ensure compliance with all the regulatory obligations that your organization falls under. And in order to make this third-party risk management program manageable within your organization, you want to leverage smart integrated technology. Now, having covered all of that, we wanted to invite you into our second poll question, just to understand what is your biggest challenge today with third-party and risk management. Is it your vendor risk assessments because they are manual, or is it the continuous monitoring, the frequency of those the management of your third-party space, or is it developing an incident response when you become aware of a breach, or possibly it could be the reporting, right? So please, select the answer that is closest to your current challenge today. Now, we just wanted to wrap this up with giving you a simple 6-step approach to third party with 6 clicks. And I'm going to cover this very briefly because my colleague Caleb is going to run you through the platform live, which is a lot more fun. And so just to recap what a 6-step process for third-party risk management looks like on 6 clicks. Number one, you want to be able to onboard your vendors with our native onboarding form, make it really easy to onboard the vendors, to give them a custom scoring framework that aligns with your organization so you can identify your critical vendors. Next, and this is a huge challenge for many of our customers, being able to design your vendor assessment. And because this is such a challenge, many of our customers ask us about, existing documents that they can use. So I've listed down a couple there that you'll be familiar with, whether it's the CIS or whether it's the NIS SP 853, or whether it's the Vendor Security Alliance. One of the things that you may know about 6 clicks is we have a lot of this content, which we call authority documents and assessment templates, which are digitized on the platform. So essentially, you can pick it up and you can customize it pretty easily. So designing your vendor assessment is made a lot easier and you won't be starting from scratch. And then you want to be able to streamline your program by conducting bulk activity, right? So things like, reviewing them, managing the risk, raising the issues, all of them can be automated within a standard template. And then a key element of this obviously is, to identify the risks, and you want to be able to triage and remediate them pretty easily. So we'll talk a little bit about how you can automate this activity of raising risks and issues. And one key challenge I think worth mentioning here is many times the reason why your assessments and your assessment reviews gets out of control is because you have the same assessments with the same question. However, the risk that is raised, because they're handled by different analysts or different stakeholders, it's the same risk that gets duplicated. So 6 clicks addresses this pretty seamlessly on the platform. And number 5 is around the leveraging Hailey, which is our AI engine, to be able to automate a lot of these assessment processes, right? Being able to reuse previous responses so your vendors don't have, assessment fatigue. And finally, a big element about your third-party risk management program is around reporting, right? You have to report your audit and risk committee, you have to report to your board. So how do you derive those reports? Now, what I want to do is hand over to my colleague Caleb, who's going to go through live on the platform for you all the 6 steps that I've just mentioned.
Thank you very much, Shireen. Hello, everyone. My name is Caleb, and I'm a senior pre-sales engineer in 6clicks. Now, in the next 15 minutes or so, I will give you an overview of the 6clicks solution, showing you how you can take control of your third-party risk management program, and pretty much showing you how 6clicks can help in terms of centralizing, simplify, and automate your processes, taking away those mundane tasks related to your third-party risk management and giving you your team more time to focus on the things that matter. Before I start the demo, however, there is a Q&A button in Zoom that you can see that allows you to submit your questions. So feel free to leverage that Q&A, because we do have a Q&A session at the very end for roughly around 5 minutes to answer any questions that you may have around Shireen's presentation or anything to do with the demo. So without further ado, let's get started. As you can see on the screen, this is my 6clicks environment. So on the left-hand side, there's an AI-generated logo that I put in there. Just know that you can white label the 6clicks environment, and you can put your own company logo and name in there. Now, there are various modules that you'll see on the left-hand side for various use cases. But for today, we'll only be focusing on the third-party module, as you can see in here, since we are talking about third-party risk management. So starting with our third parties register, here's where you'll be able to manage all of your third parties or vendors in a single pane of glass view. You can easily access all the critical information like your risk, criticality, or the contact information. This register can be searched easily. You can also apply filters in this register based on various criteria. But if I select a third party in here, let's say Cybersoft Solutions, for example, it'll allow me to drill through and gain more information of that third party. So you can see on the right-hand side, we have the number of risks and issues related to this third-party vendor. Or if I click on assessment, I'll be able to see all of the past, ongoing, or current assessments that's been assigned for them to be completed. I can see the status in here showing they're all completed, and one is sort of published, so they haven't really gotten into that yet. Or any related documents to this third party, all of them can be stored and viewed here, as you can see. Now you may think, well, Caleb, this all looks great, but where's that automation? Where's that sort of automated processes that you mentioned in the very beginning? So don't worry, we'll get into that part right now. What I'll do is I will show you the process from start to finish. From the onboarding stage of onboarding a third party, conducting your assessments, the ongoing management of your third party, like reassessing every year or every 6 months, how you can identify risk and issues based on those assessments, and also the remediation of your findings. So let's start with the onboarding form. Here's where you can create a record and then have all those automation started. So with this onboarding form, I'm using the 2024 form. There's a link to it, which I've already got open on the other tab. So I'm going to create a demo company for this demo purpose. And let's just say Dave is the contact. Give it a random domain in there, abc12345.com.au, for example. And just note this form, or this onboarding form, is highly customizable. So this is just a simple one that I've set up, but you'll be able to set up a form so that it will pretty much record any information based on your requirements. And there's the text field or the drop-down list that you can select from here. But just know that this form, you can customize it to your requirements, right? So let's just give it these different values. And at the bottom of the form, what you find is it will say assessment required. That's because I'll put in an automation in the part of this form so that once I submit the form and once I create that record, an assessment will be sent out to that vendor automatically. And I can put a respondent email in here so that they, the vendor's contact will be able to receive that assessment and complete it there. I'm just going to put my own email in here. so that I will get the email and I can show you what it looks like on the vendor's side. But just note that this will be, say, Dave from that demo company vendor, and so that he can respond to it. But I'm just going to put my email in here, clicks.com, put in the captcha, and then submit it. So once the form is submitted, it should just wait for it to load. So what it's doing right now is it will create a record within 6 clicks with that new vendor. So if I go back to my third parties register, I should be able to see the new demo company that has been created, right? We can see the assessment stage. Well, the stage is saying pre-assessment, and we've got all this information that we're just pulling. And if we go to view assessment, as you can see on the right-hand side, we have already sent out a third-party risk assessment to them, and it says the status is published at the moment. So from there, we just need to sort of wait for them to get back to us, filling those assessments, and we'll get notified once they complete those assessments. Now, let's just take a pause in there, because what I'm about to show you now is from the perspective of your third-party vendors. And I guess the idea is once you've sent out that assessment, we spoke about how we can simplify your processes, and we believe that's equally important for your vendors. We also want to provide the same kind of level of experience to your third-party contact, allowing them to complete the assessments properly and also have a better relationship and engagement with us. And now I will show you from the perspective of Dave, our third-party contact, and how they will respond to the assessment and provide evidence to support their responses. So just give me a sec while I try to log in to that environment. Okay. And I should also mention, from Dave's perspective, so he will get an email notification saying, hey, an assessment has been sent over to you to be complete. So once you click on view assessment, he'll be connected to the 6 clicks portal. And that's pretty much what they'll see. They will see the questionnaire and then the answer and complete right now. So this is the questionnaire that I've set up. It's just got like a 5 or 6 simple questions for the demo purpose. But one thing to note is with our questionnaires or with our assessments, it is highly customizable. So you can pretty much configure your own, build your own questionnaire to assess your vendors. And we also have a content library, which contains a lot of template or out-of-the-box assessments that you could use. One, I think a popular one would be the VSA Vendor Security Alliance questionnaire. That's also included in our content library that you could leverage. So you can leverage our out-of-the-box questionnaires assessments, or you can also build your own. But from Dave's perspective, he'll go through the questionnaire. He'll go, yeah, do you have a risk framework, risk management framework? Yes, I do. And yes and no, and so on. Just going through those questions. On the right-hand side, he'll be able to sort of leave explanation to support his answers, and also attach any documents to provide those evidence. What he'll also be able to do is easily collaborate with his team. So on the right-hand side, as you can see, assign users. So let's say Dave is the one that's assigned in here right now, and he's not too sure about the third question, if there's been any incidents in the past 24 months. So what he could do is he can quite easily add another user for this particular question. He can go, oh, I may need to pull in my CISO or my security team for this particular answer, so that and they can come in and they'll have access and be able to answer that question for him. So I'll just quickly go through this questionnaire, and let's say, for example, I'll use this question for example. Do you have the security awareness training for staff? He goes, no. We have something planned, but not implemented yet. Right. We should have it in 3 months, for example. So that's the final answer for the questionnaire. He's completed everything else. So let's go submit. Yep. Excellent, that's submitted. So that's pretty much everything that he needs to do, right? He has answered all the questions and he's provided all the responses, and also he's provided explanation. He may have attached evidence to the relevant questions and answers, and they can also easily invite people to this questionnaire to help him answer any questions in here. So going back to being the risk manager for the company, once Dave completes that sort of questionnaire, I will get notified in my email, pretty much saying, hey, this company, they have completed that assessment, and it also comes back with an average risk rating of low. And if I click on that, click here to view, or I can also log back into 6 clicks to view those responses. So what I go do is go back to my third parties register and just do a quick refresh in here. And I'll go back to demo company. And if I click on view assessment, what you see is the third-party risk assessment has already been completed because they've just completed it just now, right? But what you also find interesting is we've got another assessment in type saying it's been published. And that's because we have an automation that's enabled in this assessment to send out follow-up assessments based on the response. And this is a really powerful tool that allows us to be able to sort of reassess based on different criteria, right? So this could be a huge time saver, as you'll be able to automate a lot of manual tasks. So say, for example, if the initial assessment comes back with a risk rating of high, depending on your requirements, you may want to send a follow-up questionnaire to further assess that third-party vendor. You can also use this feature to set up recurring assessment that goes out every year or to reassess your third-party vendors out there. So what I'll do is I will just quickly go to that complete assessment by Dave just now, and I'll have a look at the results. And that's pretty much what we mean by keeping everything simplified and centralized. All of the evidence that Dave has provided, I can view all of them in here. So if I go back to that question, training, security awareness training for staff, we can see he answered no, and the question based on the questionnaire settings, the risk rating is high according to that respond, and we can see pretty much go in and go mark it as say not compliant, for example, right? If Dave has provided any attachment, we'll be able to see those attached records. But most importantly, if you have a look on the right-hand side in here, we can see there's the issues, incidents, and also risk that could be raised, right? So this is all part of that automation in our questionnaire. Based on the respondents' answers, the system is going to suggest, these are the related issues that we may need to raise, or these are the risks that is related to his answer. So from there, we can say quite easily link that issue based on his response. And if I do go into that particular issue, okay, and from there we can pretty much be able to assign remediation action back to Dave, right? So you don't have a security awareness training right now, and you want to be able to collaborate with your third-party vendor to make sure that they do have that implemented, and that reduces the risk for us also. So if I go to issue action, right, I'm just going to go into this particular action, say provide evidence that you've got a training program in place. It's in new status. Let's set a due date for 3 months from now, because he did say it should be active in roughly 3 months' time. Assigning to that third party, that demo company, which is the third party that we're dealing with, and we can put it back to, let's say, Dave at demo company in there. I'm not gonna click yes in here, so that just in case, like I just don't want to send any emails notifications to that domain, which shouldn't be a domain anyways. But look, that's how we can collaborate with our third-party vendors, assign remediation action, and be able to work with them and try to resolve any outstanding issues that's in there. So very quickly, we've spoken about the ways to streamline or simplify the onboarding process, assessment, and the ability to raise risk and issues and be able to assign remedial action back to your vendors. I'd like to very quickly close off with our analytics module. And we've got the reporting and analytics module, and this allows pretty much provide you with insightful views and the ability to generate reports for key stakeholders, showcasing your vendor risk posture in real time. And our reporting and dashboards allow you to pretty much closely monitor any ongoing assessments and the risk or issues related to your third-party vendor. You can easily follow up on any outstanding tasks or remediation items related to your third-party vendors. And you can also leverage the out-of-the-box reports that can get you started right away. You can also build your own customized report for specific information. I've got like an overview across 3 things: assessments, issues, and risk. I can see all the third-party related high risks. Or you can also actually have reports or dashboard that's more specific and going to, like, say, actual answers across all your vendors, the assessment progress, any linked issues or remediation items showing you the actual risk registers, or say the issue actions, for example, right? Or I've got one for linked risk and treatment, showing you the risk matrix and also the risk register and also the risk treatment plan. So all this information can be presented. You can also take these to your say board meetings, or those every quarterly meeting, and present those information. Now, that was a really quick overview of how 6clicks can help centralize and simplify the whole vendor life cycle. There are a lot more to this platform that cannot be covered today due to time restraint. I know we're running out of time, sorry for that. But if you do want to find out more, please reach out to us and get into contact with our team. We're more than happy to discuss how we can help you and be part of that journey with you. Now, I'll just quickly flip over back to Shireen for our Q&A session.
Thanks, Caleb. Really appreciate that. So we have just a minute to close out, and there are a number of questions which have come through on the Q&A, and many of them are related. So, and interestingly, all of them have to do with our AI capability. So I'll basically respond to all of them since all the questions are connected. So essentially the Ask Hailey button that you see, which is one of the questions, what does it do? The purpose of Ask Hailey in the assessment capabilities to retrieve previous responses. Now, the second question was around integrations. So we have a developer API to exchange information between 6clicks and other systems, including those that perform vendor scoring. We'd be very keen to find out which system you use. We also have a pipeline of native integrations, which we are working on, and we prioritize that based on customer demands. As many of you know, we publish our roadmap, which you can access as well. So that's essentially answers to the questions which have come through. If there are any questions that we missed today, we will definitely respond to you directly, or you're also welcome to reach out to us. So just in closing out, on behalf of the 6clicks team, I want to say thank you to all our customers, and industry practitioners who have joined us today. Thank you for your time. We welcome your feedback. You can easily find me on LinkedIn or on our website. I look forward to hearing from you. We will be sending out a copy of the recording and the slides that we have used today. And if you have any questions about our functionality, you're keen to explore our platform, or you have a use case that you'd like us to help you with, please feel free to reach out. So thank you, everyone, and have a great day.